Howdy folks, and welcome back to Show Don't Tell. And now we're starting in on the more specific things about poetry, which I prioritize because I used to be in poetry crew. I also used to be in Gen Lit. I have not been in storybooks, but I've been in resources for the past couple of years, and I have made it my point to write tutorials like this. So we're starting at Poem Spot on the Spot, which is in Creativity Corner, filed under Writing Activities, kind of technically a resources section. And you might be used to the kind of things that go on there. You might not have ever participated in Poem Spot if you weren't really interested in poetry, because you see it only has 19 pages, and it's a thread that's been going since 2013. So it's had a couple different revitalizations. And recently, I wrote a poem about the Bee Movie. Let's get my cursor. I wrote a poem about the Bee Movie script, which is something I do every April Fool's. I put the entire Bee Movie script in the quote generator. So that's the poem that we're going to be working with. And then just included, the first 2 posts and some recent posts. And we're going to go to the publishing center. We're talking in the last video, we talked about the simple Shift-Enter design. Now we're talking about another way of doing it that we've been doing for years, and that particularly people who like creative formatting like to use, where you take a picture, you create your words in a different place, scatter them all around how you like, do whatever you want to them, and then you upload it as a picture. So the only button that we need to worry about today is the insert/upload file button for pictures, not the other one, because the other one doesn't work very well. I am going to do a separate video on all of the buttons and what they mean if you've never used them before, and some of them are a little bit wild. So next slide. This is what we start with. This is the basic text, and we haven't put in any line breaks, and we haven't decided anything. We're just putting in plain body calibrate with a bullet point on a black background. Don't at me because of my bad vision. And then we go to putting in some, this is a band script, it's like Baymont, I can't remember what it's called. But anyways, there's a lot of different fonts that exist. It's simple, you can just do this. You just put like this, there's alignment to the left. You could just screenshot this. You could save it as a picture itself. All depends on what platform you're working on. It's easiest to do it in PowerPoint, but it can also be done in OpenOffice and Google Docs. So I will have more tutorials in the future about how to format within them, but it's generally all the same. And then there's this option to have backgrounds. So one of the things about text boxes in word processing and presentation softwares is that you can have backgrounds that come from a pool of images that have not been updated since Windows 98. And one of them is my favorite, which is the blue static carpet. I want to use the fish, but it's really hard to find like text alignments that like fit really well in the fish. And if you don't know what the fish is, you're probably under 18 if you don't know the famous Windows fish background. So we're going with the blue carpet, which I thought was equally hideous to match how terrible of a poem that this is. And then also, a thing you can do is use word art in different fonts, different styles, different colors, all sorts of things. This one, not showing up very well, but if you were using it as a title and you had at like size 52 to 60, rather than this is like a size 30 to get it to all shrink, if it was in like a size 52, you would be able to clearly see the polka dots. So word art generally works as, it's plain. It has some sort of reflection to it. It has a pop around the edges that makes it appear three-dimensional. You can't see me, but I'm doing air quotes on three-dimensional. And then it has like some sort of pattern. And that's usually polka dot stripes, checks, whatever you would find on a shirt in your dad's closet. PowerPoint has a version of word art for it. This is another version of word art. It's one of the famous ones. It's the gold. That's the air quote 3D, which I thought was appropriate for B movie. Like I thought that this one's the most appropriate, if not for the font that I chose. And the font is just ridiculous. And that's the thing about poetry, experimental poetry, which is what I've made my brand on, is that you can just do whatever sort of crazy things you want with the design. Half of the art, for me, is the design. And here's one more example of extreme things you can do. And you can use smart art. Because like sometimes people make poems that are like connection poems. I think there was one on YWS recently that was like a connect the dots poem. And I was like, hey, you should just like use smart art. I'm a big fan of smart art. It does all the work for you. Well, it doesn't do all the work. You have to know a fair amount about Microsoft Office to use smart art in the way that you're supposed to be using it, and not in the way that they taught you how to do it in middle school.